Welcome back. Ryan's Thoughts and Cars. 50 in 2025. 2 weeks notice. I've been offered a full-time job. Kind of what I've been hoping for since I moved to Alberta. And I have only given 2 weeks notice once in my life. This time, so my very first job working for somebody else. I don't know, I was 20-ish years old. I got a job working for Costco. And it was the first time in my life that I was working for an employer, and you had to sign all the documents and contract things and blah, blah, blah. And I really didn't know, and I really didn't know anything at that time. Before that, I had been working. I'd been working since I was 8 years old for a family-run construction kind of business thing, concrete business. And I've never encountered that kind of thing before. But I was at Costco. I was there for about 3 years, and I was getting sick of it. Like, going in every day, same old thing. And I was 20, still wanted to party on weekends and stuff like that. And they wouldn't put you on full-time. I was part-time. And so I would always have to work weekends. So I went like 3 years with having to work weekends as a young person. Like, what dumb shit is that? I'd always get like Tuesdays and Thursdays off. Like the worst days of the week to get off. And I was just sick of it. I was sick of the games and politics that happen at the job sort of thing. And I don't know. So I wanted to quit. So I quit. And because everybody says you got to give your 2 weeks notice. I gave my 2 weeks notice, right? And I was just treated like shit for 2 weeks. Because everybody knew I was going. Supervisors, managers, and shit, right? So the attitude, and it was like when I put in my 2 weeks notice and then I had to stay there for 2 weeks. It was like being the redheaded stepchild. As soon as they knew you didn't want to be with the company anymore, nobody gave a shit about you. Like, all of that friendship and all of that friendliness all went out the window. So I learned in that instance to never ever give 2 weeks notice again. It's a kind of a courtesy to give 2 weeks notice to your employer, saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to be moving on. You got a couple of weeks to fill in for my position. I'm letting you know ahead of time. But on the other end of it, that courtesy is, in every other job I've ever worked, I guess Costco was okay to work for. But I learned as soon as you put in your two weeks notice, that's all out the window. There's no loyalty. There is nothing, right? Like, people don't give a shit. So I learned there was no real point to putting in 2 weeks notice. Like, I could see if you were at a company and you were supposed to be there for like 20, 30, for life, and you're going to retire there. But in my generation, that wasn't the norm. Those were the very few far between jobs. Employers that held on to for like ever and showed you loyalty. No company shows you loyalty. Not anymore. So the rest of my life I would just quit and go home. or, you know, a planned quitting. You know, I know I'm going to be quitting in a couple of weeks, so I would get all my shit in order for a couple of weeks, and then one day just not just say, hey, I'm quitting, and just walk off the job. So I'm at a point here, I'm 50 years in life where I've done this, where I don't give 2 weeks notice. I was offered this way better situation, not way better, but a lot better situation for where I am. And they offered it to me like, you can start immediately, kind of thing. Now, I haven't read the contract for my current employer. My main part-time job, if you know, I'm working like 3 part-time jobs, 5 employers. And my main part-time job is, you know, I've honestly, and I've said it before in my videos, like I haven't had a better situation. I have not been treated better at any other job I've ever worked in my life than these jobs that I'm doing right now. And one of the employers, one of my part-time employers of the other jobs, has offered me a full-time position with, you know, pay and benefits and things, right? It's nothing spectacular, but it is good for out here. It's an office job, but I get to do all sorts of things that keep me occupied, so I don't get bored doing one thing all the time, which is really good. But I got this employer here that hired me, November last year. And since then, it's just been great working here. But it will be permanent part-time for the next foreseeable future of years. And with that, all my other part-time jobs aren't filling in for a full-time paycheck. It's just not working out, and the job is just, you know, all of them together are kind of not paying the bills. They're barely making the basic bills, and it's a struggle. That aside, the reason I liked this job the most is that I got full benefits right away, quickly, and that seems to be a difficult thing to come by. You know, I worked for the federal government. Some of the contracts, the benefits worked out really good, where they kicked in. I'll say that. My last turnaround with the federal government, it took them over a year for the benefits to kick in. Actually, like I didn't even work there. I worked there for about a year, almost a year. And I didn't get my benefits until like a month and a half after I quit. I got a letter in the mail saying, oh, your benefits, you can finally use them, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like shaking my head and, you know, this is, you know, you can't make this up. That kind of thing. And it was like 6 or 7 months later where, oh, you're such a valued customer from the benefits company. Oh, you're such, and I haven't used them. I never used them. I never got to use them. And I'm not employed there anymore. So I don't know. That's a fiasco. And that's working for the federal government where, you know, in theory they have their shit together, right? But really they don't. Now, this company I'm working for here, this group I'm working for here, they kicked in right away, and I have been using them, sort of. I should have been using them more, but I don't have the money on the side to actually use them, like the dental and stuff. I've been using the prescription stuff. That's kind of, you know, and that's been working out good. But I don't have the extra money to go like get my teeth checked, even though it's covered by like whatever it is, 70% or 80% or whatever it is, right? I don't have the out-of-pocket money to go and do that shit. And I was I'm about to go and use them, and then I was offered this job on Friday. Today's Monday. So I'm actually going in today and got to figure out my contract if I've got to give 2 weeks notice. Because I will be. I might take my buddy out for lunch there. Break it to him. Over fish and chips or something. But yeah. I don't know. It's been, so 20, what am I now, 50? It's been 30 years since I've had to put in 2 weeks notice. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do it. But I do know that when I was sat down with the employer who wants to hire me, I said, look, I might have to put in 2 weeks notice with these people because, I mean, they've been really good to me. And I don't want to leave them in a lurch, right? But I am leaving them in a lurch no matter what I do. But to give them some forewarning, which would be good. And today is the week, actually. I applied for another part-time job here to get full-time hours sort of thing. It pays nothing. I don't even think it pays $20 an hour. It's probably 19 or something. And so I got to say no to that as well. And another lady in town here called me to take a job for doing extra bus runs, and it'll interfere actually with everything. So I got to phone her today and say no to her as well. I can't believe how fortunate I am that I am turning down jobs, especially in this economy in Canada. People are getting laid off left and right. But I have people offering me work, which is, I'm so grateful for. Which kind of makes this, leaving this job kind of, because these guys came through at a time when I needed the job. I needed it. So we'll see. I'll figure out. I gotta talk to my guy there. And but yeah, that's the update. Fortunate in 2025, 50 years old. My birthday's sometime this week or next week. This weekend? I don't know. Next week, I think. What day is it today? I don't know what day it is. It doesn't matter. My birthday is soon. I'll be 52 this month. And I'll have a new job. Full-time. Benefits. Decent pay. I'm still struggling to come to terms with that because it's low. It's really low pay. But it's exciting stuff that I get to do. All right. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new, I don't know, maybe consider subscribing. We talk about life in 2025 and being 50 years old. Post-divorce, dating, new jobs, starting all over, the whole thing. Some of it's interesting. All of it's new to me. And I'll see you in the next one.